guys, my name is Heather and today we are talking through some goals for 2025. I've broken this down into 3 categories. The first category being reading goals, the second category being channel and Patreon goals, and then the third category is just personal life goals. So if you're interested in everything, you can watch everything. And if you're only interested in 1 or 2 sections, you can find the timestamps down below and skip to those sections. So let's first talk about my reading goals. So this year, my goal is the same as it was last year, and that is to read 75 books. I think if I really pushed myself, I could probably read 85 to 90 books, but given my schedule being what it is, I'm a teacher, I don't have time to read or even listen to an audiobook at work. So that just makes it hard to, be able to listen to books at work. And I know a lot of people that do read upwards of 90 books a year, they do have audiobook time. So it's not a comparison game. This is just a finding my happy spot game. And I do think 75 books is doable while still being a little bit of a challenge. As of December 23rd, I have not yet hit 75 books for 2024. And this is on me. I had a couple really busy seasons of my life, especially trying to balance everything and add 2 theatrical productions onto my plate. So knowing that I don't really have any theater productions I'm hankering to be in this year, I think 75 is going to be a lot more doable than it was this year. My next goal is to actually use the reading journal I spent a lot of time putting together. I don't know if you guys would be interested in a reading journal flip through. Let me know if that's something that interests you in the comments. Like I said, I spent a lot of time on this. It's like definitely a little bit of a creative outlet for me. And something that you spend a lot of time on, you want to use. Plus, I think it's just really cool to look at the physical version of your books and your tracking and everything. It makes it more personal than just plugging in numbers on Storygraph or Goodreads or Fable or whatever it is that you use. So I spent a lot of time on this. I want to use it. I want to have something that's like a little look into my reading life to look back on in the future instead of just a website that's a bunch of pixels and lights and text. This is more personal to me. I want to use it. Number 3, and this is kind of a big one, even though it's going to sound silly, it's a big one to me. And that is, I do not need to buy a book that I can read on Kindle Unlimited. This is not saying that I can never buy a copy of the book, but this year, a lot of the time, if it had a pretty cover or if it was a really hyped book, I would run out and either get the book of the month copy if it was on book of the month, or I would buy it in the store just to feed into the hype, I guess, and have a pretty copy of something. But if I can read it for free, I know I pay for KU, but it's still cheaper than buying the book. If I can read it through KU, or even better, get it from my library, there is no reason to rush out and get the book, not even knowing if I'm gonna like it. So I wanna be a lot better and more conscious about that this year. I'm even tracking how many books I read on KU a month in my reading journal. I just want to be more mindful of my book spending habits, and this is an easy way to get started with that. Next up is just, I don't want to feel pressured to participate in book clubs. And that might sound silly, and I'm not talking about my in real life book clubs. I'm going to participate in that because that's a easy way for me to have real life fellowship and community with people in my actual life, even if I don't read the book. But what I'm talking about is I support a lot of creators on their own Patreons or throughout their own, book clubs that they run online. And I feel like people are going to think that I don't support them if I don't participate in every book club discussion that they do. And I know that's not true. I don't know if it's kind of like a FOMO thing or an imposter syndrome thing. I don't know. But I feel like the only way people are going to know that I'm their friend or that I support them is if I participate in the book club discussion. And the fact of the matter is, not all of the books people pick interest me, and that's okay. So balancing my support of people with the fact that I don't have to read every book that's picked for their book club. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm saying it in I'm taking care of my mental health and my need to prioritize for myself way. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And last on my reading goals is just making sure that I'm reading what I want to read. There's a lot of pressure as a booktuber, especially when people start to notice that you favor a genre, to only hype up that genre or to read every new release that comes out in that genre. And the truth is, guys, I feel like I am primarily a fantasy and a romance booktuber, but my interests lie all over the place. And I don't want to have the fear of losing subscribers or people thinking I'm weird for reading a certain book or a certain genre to keep me from reading it and talking about it on my channel. This is my space. I invite you guys all into my space, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to change or to mold my reading habits to fit others. This is my space. So I want to encourage myself to grow and have fun in my own space. All right, let's move on to the channel and the Patreon discussion. My channel is small. It's grown very slowly over the last 2 years, and I am proud of the way that my channel has grown over the last 2 years. Just because it's grown slowly does not mean that I am not proud of it. I've worked hard, but some things that I want to do to challenge myself to grow more are to actually stick to a posting schedule. So in my head, this is what my posting schedule is going to look like. I'm going to post every single Thursday, and then I'm also going to post every other Monday. I have pretty much like your standard videos that will be going up, but also some interesting discussion type videos as well as vlogs. Speaking of vlogs, another goal I have is to not be in my head so much about vlogs. There was a long period of time where I just vlogged. I didn't think twice about what I was vlogging. I put it on the internet and people liked what I put up. But for some reason, I have been so in my head of, oh, my house is messy, I can't vlog. Oh, I don't look cute today, I can't vlog. Oh, these other vloggers that I watch have nice things to look at around their home than my teeny tiny apartment. Or my cats are always making a mess, so I can't vlog today. Or I didn't even finish one whole book this week, so nobody's gonna be interested in this vlog. I gotta get out of my head about that. I love watching vlogs. They're my favorite videos to watch that other people make because I love the little sneak peeks I get into other people's life. As somebody who's really introverted and very much of a homebody, I kind of feel like, I know it's parasocial, but I feel like it's a little bit of a social interaction that I get. And I love watching the way people live their lives. I love looking at people who are different than me or people who are similar to me and what they have to talk about and what they do during their day. I love vlogs. So if I could get out of my head about my own vlogs, I know that there's people out there who would enjoy what I have to say. So that was really more of a pep talk to me than to you guys, but I want to vlog more and I want to feel more comfortable vlogging more even when things in my life aren't perfect. Something else that I want to do on my channel is public sprints once a month. So typically Thursday nights are my Patreon sprints, but once a month I want to open those up to the public because I love sprints. I love like reading with other people. It makes a very isolating activity feel a lot more social, and I feel like sprints kind of help build the community. So one Thursday of the month is going to be public sprints, and of course I will try my best to advertise that about a week in advance so that people can join in on the sprints as well. Just a couple more like numbers things. I would love to see my channel hit 2.5K by the end of next year. That's kind of allowing for the slow growth I've had for my channel, while picking up the pace just a little bit. I think if I'm posting consistently, I'm inviting people to sprint and participate in other activities with me, that I think that I can achieve this 2.5. And then this one is kind of the Patreon goal. And I love to talk about my Patreon because I love my patrons. I love the community that we've built, but I also don't want anybody to think that that is the only reason why I exist on YouTube. But I will say that I'm a teacher, and I'm a teacher in the United States. And if you guys don't know, this will be my money talk for the day, but we don't get paid enough. We just don't. And as somebody who is on a single income, who provides completely for herself, who is as independent as she can possibly be, I live very much on a month-to-month paycheck basis. And Patreon is something that allows me to continue to feel comfortable making content, to buy some, not all, but some of the new releases that I get really hyped about, as well as to just kind of like help manage my finances a little bit more. Patreon is first and foremost a community, a book club, a happy place, a safe space, but it is also, and this is just honesty hour, right? It's a space for me to feel like I'm able to continue doing what I'm doing. And so I would love, and I don't have a number goal for this, but I would just love to have more friends on Patreon. So if that's something that you're interested in, or if you're interested in supporting me at all, I have a price level for everybody. I have a $3 tier, a $6 tier, and a $10 tier. And more than anything, I would just love to see your face in our Discord. So if that's something that interests you, the link is down below. Now let's get into some of my personal goals. So my first one is to get back on an exercise schedule. This has been hard for me this year, mostly because of the theatrical productions I was talking about. When I am involved in a theater production, especially if it's during the school year, I wake up around 5, I go to work until about 3, I come home, take care of the cats, clean up for a second, and then go to rehearsal from about 6 o'clock to 9:30 or 10. And there just is not time for exercise and that. And so this year I got really off of my exercise game during my production of Rumors, and I never got back on it. So I have already started trying to get back on that regularly, whether that is walking. I love yoga. I just don't get to do it enough. I love walking. I want to get back into running a little bit more. I ran a half marathon in 2020. I don't recognize that girl that could run a half marathon. I would love to get to do that. But this also brings me into my next goal, which is to play pickleball more consistently. My best friend, Brent, has gotten me into pickleball. He is a much better player than I am, but he's being very patient with me and kind of teaching me and giving me some very fundamental coaching. But I know I need to go to like an actual coach to feel better playing pickleball. But it is such a good workout while being so fun and challenging my agility and my hand-eye coordination, which are all things I thought that I didn't have, or I was told that I didn't have growing up. I tried to play basketball one year and I was told I didn't have the hand-eye coordination for it. My athleticism growing up was limited to ballet, swimming, and horseback riding. So this is kind of letting me live some of my inner child dreams of wanting to be able to play an organized sport, even though here I am like halfway through my 30s. And I am absolutely loving the time that I'm spending playing pickleball, but the only way I'm going to get better is to consistently practice. So I would love to be able to play like once a week. We'll see. More than that would be great. Pickleball is a big goal of mine. I want to be able to like play Brent and other people without worrying about like bringing them down because I'm such a beginner or making a dumb mistake. Or right now my serve is what is throwing me off. I cannot serve consistently to the spot where I'm supposed to serve. So I just want to get better. I want to be able to play more people and make it like a really fun hobby for myself. Next up, I just have blanket term save money. And this is kind of playing into other things I've already talked about with not rushing out and buying a book that I can read on KU or from the library, or you know, saving my Patreon income for future purchases. I would love to eventually move out of this apartment. I've loved this apartment. I've lived here for 7 years, but the truth of the matter is it's getting small for what I need. I moved in here in my mid-20s and here I am in my mid-30s and I got more stuff. My book collection has grown. I'd love to have an office space rather than just sticking a desk in a corner. I'd love to have a spot for my books to go and be proud to say like, welcome to my library. And these are like big, way off in the future goals, but I can start making them achievable now. So saving money, trying not to live paycheck to paycheck. It's hard to do. It's hard to do when we live in such a consumer driven, materialistic society. It's hard to do when you see influencers living as if they are minimalists, but they're spending money as if they're maximalists. And that's hard. Another one is to just kind of declutter my apartment. I have lived here for so long that I know I have stuff I don't need anymore. I know I have stuff I could either donate to Goodwill or books I have that I could donate to the prison nonprofit that we have that puts books into inmates' hands, which I'm really passionate about. And there's stuff in my apartment that I can honestly just trash. And this is all starting the process of maybe one day moving out, but also just making me feel like I'm not trapped in such a small space. And then my last one kind of goes with the exercise more. Guys, I love to cook. I got off of my cooking game again during these theatrical productions and I just haven't really returned to it. So I would love to cook for myself a whole lot more, cook for friends. There's no reason not to, other than like I'm still living as if I'm constantly in a rush and I'm not right now. So I want to cook more and I want to share my cooking with you guys more. There you have it. I think that overall these goals are pretty attainable. I'll be really excited, especially like with my numbers that I picked for myself, if I could surpass those, but I'm going to be so excited if I just hit those as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know that this was a lot more just about me and my goal setting than it was about books and reading. So if you watched all the way to the end, just know that I'm so thankful for you. I'm going to stop rambling and gushing about you guys right now. If you want to follow me on social media or join Patreon, those links are all down below. I appreciate absolutely any support that you guys can give me, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye, guys.